Hello again, everybody. Welcome into Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips joined by Wes Mitchell for a Gamecock football spring practice report. Wes, I know you had a busy weekend, long road trip for you to Oxford, Mississippi to cover Gamecock baseball, but we got you back in the Midlands now and want to talk a little football with you this morning. How was the weekend, Wes?
Oh, yeah, it was good. Obviously a good weekend for the Gamecock baseball team, too, getting a sweep on the road in the SEC. Those don't really happen very often for many teams. So, obviously a good weekend, good start for Chad Holbrook, 6-0 for the first time in school history. And, while I was in Oxford watching baseball, the Gamecock football team was scrimmaging back here in Columbia.
Right, a closed scrimmage, and not a lot of information coming out about the scrimmage because it was closed on Saturday, Wes. But I did want to talk with you about the injury to Perry Orth. Broken collarbone sustained by Perry Orth. Apparently he had surgery on Saturday, and Orth's going to be out for a while, but it looks like his return will be expected sometime during the month of June.
Yeah, broken collarbone, out for the spring, like you said. He'll be back this summer. He basically underwent surgery, pretty much immediately, and then was released from the hospital on Sunday. Was in good spirits from what I heard, was doing fine. This is just one of those things where South Carolina has been, obviously looking for a quarterback, and they've got a competition going, and they're going live because they want to see how these guys respond to, actually possibly being hit. And, I think you can't really determine quite what a quarterback is made of when he's not getting touched. So they've gone live with the quarterbacks, and he was hit on a play by Marquavius Lewis, broke his collarbone again, obviously, and I think clearly this has an effect on South Carolina's quarterback race moving forward.
You couple the Orth injury now with the hyperextended knee that Lorenzo Nunez suffered last week, and Nunez could be back for the final week of spring ball, so he may sit out another week, but he could be back for the final week of spring practice, which would be next week. And it sounds like this has opened up more opportunities, more reps for Brandon McElwain.
Yeah, McElwain was working with the second team from the portions we've seen so far, last week. And, kid's really picked up things well. He's a guy that's a very cerebral player, very heady. He can kind of pick up the offense pretty quickly from what we've heard. And, this would just mean more reps for him, more reps for Connor Mitch. Michael Skarnecki is a guy that really hadn't been getting many reps. So I don't know necessarily if it'll change much for him, but I think for those other two guys, and then Nunez when he gets back, obviously it'll mean more reps for all of them. And, everybody's kind of done some decent things along the way. McElwain obviously has picked things up quickly in order to move into basically second in the quarterback race. Perry Orth is sort of, looked about the same, I think, as he did last year, which I think fans are a little bit tough on him. This kid does his absolute best. He's a former walk-on player, and busts his tail every team, great leader, loved by his teammates. And, then you got Nunez, who actually has, been a little bit inconsistent, but done some really good things as well. And so it was kind of unfolding as a battle that I think was going to probably go into the fall, at least through the summer. And this sort of obviously affects it for the spring, but then, Orth will be back early in the summer. So as far as the actual quarterback race, I saw some fans, on Facebook talking about, there's one last person in the quarterback race. Well, that's really not the case at all. Orth will be back this summer. He'll be good to go. And it really, I think, won't face or won't factor into the actual quarterback race as far as who's going to start that first game at all.
Wes, we've talked extensively about the quarterback competition here on Gamecock Central Radio, but perhaps we haven't talked enough about Connor Mitch, and you mentioned him briefly earlier. He was the starter to begin last year, but that feels like so long ago now, and maybe Mitch gets more reps now, and he has a chance to assert himself in this race for the starting quarterback job as well.
Yeah, he does. He's sort of been it's sort of been quiet, I guess, around him. But the opportunity is still there for him, clearly. I think for him it's just about, asserting himself. That's probably a good word there. I think, just so far, you just haven't heard much about him sort of grabbing it by the horns. And, I think that reminds me a little bit of last year. He was pretty much locked in as the guy everyone expected to take the job. And then it never happened. He sort of won the job, I guess you could say, but he never really grabbed it by the horns and took it. So, I think with a new scheme, with a new quarterbacks coach, with a new offense coordinator, new head coach, it's an opportunity for Connor Mitch. But at some point, he's going to have to obviously take the bull by the horns and take it.
Wes, another item of interest this week is that we have another transfer, and it's an in-state product. It's defensive back Darren Smalls, who was very highly regarded coming out of Somerville High School several years ago. Dealt with some injuries toward the end of his high school career, and the opportunity at South Carolina just never fully materialized for him.
Yeah, Darren Smalls, we learned and reported here on Monday that he's no longer with the football team, plans to transfer. And, he's a kid that I think came in with some high expectations. He was a 3-star guy out of high school, was a top defensive back in the state of South Carolina, class of 2014, I think. Had a big knee injury his senior year and delayed enrollment while he was taking an additional class and getting that knee ready, and redshirted last year, really didn't participate last spring, didn't do much last fall. And it just, never really clicked into place. And I think the writing was kind of on the wall with this one, probably not a huge surprise. I haven't heard any particular transfer destinations as possibilities. But like I said, right now, basically what we know is that he's not with the football team anymore and going to try to transfer somewhere, I assume, and then he will go from there. But, I think this is something where anytime there's a regime change, and even in this case, if there wasn't, you always expect transfers in the off season, and this one probably not really a huge surprise.
Right, and no question, Wes, that the injury that Darren Smalls suffered toward the end of his senior year of high school was a major setback for him. I mean, this player was regarded top 10 in the state, maybe in the top 5 in the state, depending on who you asked, and he projected as a major high-level Division I college player, and I think there was some hope that he could start right away, but the knee injury was a major setback for him, obviously, and it was just a bad set of circumstances for Darren Smalls. I know a lot of Gamecock fans were pulling for this young man and will continue to do so as he moves on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, Smalls transfer, and that actually, we're always asked about transfers, and I think that's probably not the end of the transfers from South Carolina. I'd expect there probably to be more moving forward.
Spring football practice report here on Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips and Wes Mitchell. We invite you to download the free phone apps that allow you to listen to Gamecock Central Radio on your phone. We've got an iPhone app and an Android app, and we're on iTunes. All you got to do is search Gamecock Central Radio for all three. Wes, we've got, 12 days of spring ball left. So we got a scrimmage coming up on Saturday. Spring ball will conclude with the Garnet and Black spring game on Saturday, April 9th at Williams-Brice. And coming up this week, practice will be open for the first time to the public. It'll be Tuesday and Thursday. The public can go out and watch practice at the Proving Grounds on Bluff Road.
That'll be a good opportunity for everybody to get out there and see the team and check out, I guess, some of the stuff we've been kind of trying to tell them and report about. And it'll be a good opportunity for us to do with the media because we've generally, some of them have been completely closed and some of them we've only been able to watch the first, 15 to 20 minutes of practice. So for us, it'll be an opportunity to actually see the entire practice for the first time this spring as well. So pretty excited to get out there and see some of the different things that they're doing.
All right, good stuff. Wes, we appreciate you taking time to join us today. What do you got going on this week here?
We'll have recruiting coverage and, of course, all the in-depth team coverage for those who can't make it to the open practice that, anyone could ask for, and obviously any breaking news as well.
Outstanding. Wes Mitchell joining us today here on Gamecock Central Radio. Good stuff, Wes. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Emerson. Have a good one, man.
All right, that's Wes Mitchell, and I'm Emerson Phillips, and this is Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for joining us.